system of the cell phones. Hi everybody, how are you? Nice seeing you. This week we're going to read Parashat Tetze in the synagogues. And Parashat Tetze has many mitzvot, a lot of things that we're supposed to do, a lot of things that we are not allowed to do. 74 mitzvot, a lot. And a lot of them is dealing with taking care of the money of your friend. For example, let's say your neighbor left in his backyard mattresses, cushions, all kind of stuff, and all of a sudden you heard that there's going to be pouring rain soon. What are you supposed to do? Okay, so it's good that you're going to take it. If he's not home, you're going to take it to your own house to protect your neighbor's whatever, assets, money, objects, whatever he has there. Let's say he left for a weekend and forgot his air conditioners home. Your air conditioners are working and you hear it. Okay, you call him and ask him what to do. Maybe he has a key somewhere, you can get in and turn it off. Let's say you pass intersection and you hear and you see a policeman that gives tickets to people who don't stop the right way or whatever, and you signal to the people in the back, so that they would be careful. Okay, this is caring for people's, in a way, life too, but also of their money, because they're going to get tickets, they're going to get a fine. Let's say you come home and you see that your friend or your neighbor left his lights on in his car. What are you supposed to do? Okay? So all these things are all in one category. It's called Mitzvah Hashavat Aveda. Hashavat Aveda means to return a loss, okay, of your friend. Very big mitzvah. In this parasha, it's not only says that you're supposed to return a loss, but also lo tireh, it says you shouldn't see. If you see an ox, your friends, your brothers, your neighbors, ox or sheep that is cast off, do not ignore them. You have to notify him, let him know that his sheep are wandering, that he's losing them, that, okay? And he talks about everything, not only sheep. Any of his belongings that you see that could get damaged, that could get stolen, that something that could happen to it, it's your obligation to go and notify him, letting him know, saving it in any kind of a way. This is called Hashev Tashivim. Go return it to him, because Hashem wants us to take care of our brothers' belongings, and whatever you care about your stuff, of course you should care about your friends. In Masechet Sanhedrin, Baba Kama, it says, if somebody is lost in the way, he walks, and he's lost, you don't know where he is, and you're helping him to go back to the right route, to the right path, you're making a mitzvah shel Hashavat Aveda. And of course, to Gentiles, you don't have to make this Hashavat Aveda. They don't even know what does it mean, this mitzvah of Hashavat Aveda, because they never do it. But we have examples from our, in the Gemara, we have some example. For example, you know this story, Rabbi Shimon ben Shetach. He once sent his students to buy him a donkey, a car for others. And after they bought it, they cleaned it or whatever, they saw, the students, that from his neck there's hanging a nice precious stone. So they come to the rabbi and tell him, what should we do? What do we have to do? The rabbi said, Go and ask him if it's his, if it's this, he bought it from an Arab guy. Go and ask him if it's his. But they say, why should we? If a Gentile lost something, we don't have to go return it. And he says, go and ask anyway. They go and they ask, and he says, yeah, I used to have this donkey, used to have a precious stone once, I put it on him. So the rabbi asked the students, go and return it. And they're like, why? We don't have to. He said, if this mitzvah is going to glorify the name of Hashem, okay, we have to do it. They went, they returned it, and it says that this Arab was so impressed, like, who from our own crowd would do such a thing? If you find something, of course you're going to put it in your pocket. You don't even think to return it. He was so impressed by Rabbi Shimon. He says, Baruch Elokei Shimon ben Shadach. This is how he praised him. This is called Kiddush Hashem. Another story that they give example of Rabbi Shmuel Sostrati, Masechet Baba Metzia. He once went to Rome, and at that time that he went to Rome, the queen over there, she lost all her jewelry. It's a lot of jewelry, and she used to have very, very expensive and precious stuff. So they announced to the whole empire, in the whole empire, or wherever they were in Rome, that whoever finds and gives back all her jewelry, the queen's jewelry, will get a nice prize, a nice reward. That's for the whole month. But if after a month, then they will make a search, and they will ask, and they will require, and they will look around. And if they will find it by somebody, they will kill him. This is what the announcement said. Fine. Rabbi Shmuel Sasrati found that jewelry within the 30 days and didn't return it. After 30 days, he goes to the queen and he tells her, here's your stuff. And she's like, were you here in Rome all this time, the whole month? He said, yes. Did you hear the announcement? Did you understand what the announcement said? He said, yes. Why did you return it after 30 days? Why didn't you bring it before, if you knew when you had it all this time? He told her, I wanted you to know that I'm afraid of Hashem. I'm not afraid of your punishment. You want to give me a reward, you don't want to give, I'm not looking for your reward. I'm just returning it not because of your fear, not because I'm afraid of you, but because Hashem told us to do a certain mitzvah. It's called Hashem Tashivem, it's called Hashavat Aveda, and this is why I did it. She also was very impressed, and she praised him very much, and the whole big Kiddush Hashem because of that. And I'll give you even some more examples of how for us it's so dear, this mitzvah, and you all know it. When we were young, we used to, or when our kids were young, we used to tell them a lot of this story. Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa was a very, very, very poor man. And one day, somebody goes by next to his house and leaves by mistake some chickens. And then that's it. He never came to take it back, and the wife of Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa saw this chicken. She was so happy. She said, we're going to have something to eat now. These chickens can lay eggs, and we can eat the eggs. And even though, let's say, we're going to keep this chicken, but at least we'll have some eggs, some profit from this, we're going to enjoy it. Rabbi Hanina told her, no, we cannot enjoy it. Why not? Why not? It's not going to be any damage to the owner. Nothing is going to happen. No, you're going to keep the eggs. You're going to keep whatever. We're not going to. We have to return this loss to the one that lost it. Fine, but it says that he had a lot of blessing in the house because at that moment, and they just laid eggs and eggs and eggs, and from these eggs came out chicks, and the chicks became chickens, and the whole house, the whole yard, everything became noisy and dirty, and his wife is like, what should I do? She helplessly turns to her husband, what do you want me to do with this? Rabbi Hanina, when he saw that there are so many, he went and he sold it to somebody that had goats. So 2 goats for all this amount of chicken, it's much quieter, he thought. He brought goats home, and these goats multiplied also, had a lot of blessing, multiplied also, ate all the leaves, did make dirty, went here, broke his furniture. It wasn't a pleasant thing. The story continues, it's not later it said, some time later, this man that have left this chickens over there, tells his friend as he passes by Rabbi Hanina ben Tosa's house, oh, once I left my chickens over here. His wife heard it. Quickly she called him. Really, you left? Give me a sign. How should I know that it was yours? He told her, one had this kind of feathers, one had this kind of feathers, one had a red tie around this one, whatever. They were so happy that they gave him, the Rabbi Hanina comes and tells him, here's your goats. He said, what goats? I left your chickens here, not goats. Yeah, but they laid eggs and they multiplied so much, and I had to sell them, and I bought goats for this now. So this is how Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa was able to return fully, not fully, even more, the amount that was left by him. He didn't really have to do that. He didn't have to suffer so much. To keep these chickens and to buy them there and to keep all these goats, and he didn't really have to do that. But he did he did more than one needed because of the importance of this mitzvah. He knew what is the importance of this mitzvah, and this is what we're going to speak about. In Masechet Pesachim it says, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Shlosha Anashim, there's 3 people that Hashem announce every day in heaven, okay, with happily about them. Ravak shegar ba'ir ve'eno choteh, a single man that lives in the city, in the big city, and does not sin, does not make sins. A poor man that found a lost item and returns it back to its owner. And number 3, a wealthy man, a rich man, that gives his masrot, his charity, secretly. He doesn't announce it to everyone. Okay? What's so special about these 3 people? Well, living in the big city for a single man, it's challenging very much. It's not easy. A lot of temptations, a lot of girls that are available, a lot of desires, a lot of things that are available there. And he holds himself. He controls himself not to live in sin. And it's not. And it's a big praising for this kind of a man. Rav Safra, they say, was a single man that lived in the city, and probably, of course, were trying to do the mitzvot and not to make any sins. And he was very touched by this compliment that it says that Hashem every day announces about this type of people, and he felt very good about himself. So, for him, as a single that lives alone, okay, people do not see all whatever he goes through, and sometimes married people do not see how hard it is for single people. But at least he knows that Hashem sees it, and he appreciates him, that he holds himself, and he doesn't do nonsense. So Rabba tells him, it's not so easy like you think. Living in the city and not making sins, it talks about people who go through extra challenge, he gives an example of Rabbi Yehoshua and Rabbi Hanina, that they were shoemakers, and they had all kind of clients. Many of them were females. They come and they ask them to shoe shine, or to fix the shoe, or to build the shoe around their leg, and he has to watch the woman, he has to watch her leg. So they were so careful that they were not watching, not to make a sin. Ani hamachzir aveda lebaleh, a poor man that returns a loss. It's a big nisayon for a poor man not to keep it for himself until he found something. We're talking about poor people, they don't have things at home. He found a sum of money. He would love to pay, to buy something for the kids to eat, for a change, to buy them a watermelon. If he didn't have a change for a long time already to buy his kids a watermelon, he will be able to buy them some milk, some meat that they didn't touch for a long time. For them, it's going to make them happy. He's going to be able to pay the rents and all the utility bills and the tuition. The tuition piles up, and every month thousands of dollars. And why it's such a temptation for him, to hold it by him and not to give it away. And when a poor man, he does give back it to the owner, it's a big thing. For him, it's a big nisayon. So, and then a man, a very, very rich man that gives his charity, and he doesn't, secretly, he doesn't really publicize it. For rich people, it's a nisayon. They like to advertise the fact that they give and how much they give, and their name should be written on the walls of the shul and of the schools and of the hospitals, and they need it. They want, for them it's a very important thing that people would know, that they give and they do, and they don't care only about themselves. They also care about the society, about other people. And so three people in the list, they're parallel to three very important, dangerous feelings that people have inside them. It's called atava, הקנאה, התאווה והכבוד. קנאה is when people feel jealous, okay, and this would represent the poor person would represent it. He feels jealous of his friends, his neighbors that they have, and he doesn't. Atava, it's desires. And this single person the single man that lives in the city, has to control himself, not to have desires. Ve'akavod is the rich man, that for him to have the honor is a very, very important thing. Okay? And so, at the moment that they make their choices, and that's the beautiful thing about this, they have no audience. When a rich person decides to give charity, and not in front of people, nobody will clap and say kol hakavod and praise him and say how important and how special he is. And so would be to the poor person, and so would be to the single. So all of them are fight against their evil inclination, and they win it. And that's the beautiful thing about this, and this is why Hashem declares it in heaven every day. There was this poor man that found money, a big sum of money. He came to Rav Nissim again, Zichrono Livracha. He comes to him and he tells him, I want to give this money. I found the money and I don't want to keep it. Rav Nissim tells him, why are you so rushing to give it out? Maybe there's no really money, there's no really signs. It's cash money. You can have it, you can hold it, no, I want to get rid of this, I don't want to have any temptation to use it. So, just for, ishtadlut, because he had to, he wrote a sign, put a note in a very central place that people will watch and see on a yeshiva or something. It's so interesting, he said, in 5 minutes, he didn't even come back yet to his yeshiva, in 5 minutes, he already got a phone call. I found somebody. What happened over there? His student by the name Eliyahu was walking in the street and picked up a newspaper. He never picks up these newspapers. All of a sudden that day he picked up a newspaper, and he saw that there was an ad over there or something, an article that a woman, invalid, sitting on a wheelchair, lost the money of her wedding that she was supposed to marry her daughter 2 weeks before her wedding, and she's crying her head off. She doesn't know what to do. How she's going to marry off, and the in-laws wants to cancel the wedding, and she doesn't know what to do. So there was a phone number. They called her. They asked her how much she lost, and she gave an amount, exactly the amount that this guy found. They made he was so happy, this guy, that he didn't hold his money for a second. He told the rabbi, even if I won't find anybody, if we won't find the lost person, give it to charity, give it to your yeshiva. I just want to hold it. And see what it does to people when somebody found something that was lost to you. Sometimes it's valuable, sometimes it's antique things that given generation to generation to your family, to your grandmothers, your this. And when somebody finds it, it makes it, you feel so good about other people. Harav Zusha Mianipoli, though, he made a great mitzvah, but he did it differently, of Asharat Avedah. So he was going to learn always by the Magid Mezrich. He was staying there for a few weeks, for a few months. At a certain point, he was supposed to marry off his daughter too. And he's there for a while. And Rabbi Mezrich, he saw that he needs this money. Somebody gave him donation. He took, let's say, $3,000, and he gave it to Rav Zusha so that he will be able to marry off his daughter. He gave it to him. Zusha was very happy. He took this money, he put it in his stuff, and he was heading home. On the way home, one of the cities, small cities that he enters, in the center, in the square of that city, he sees a woman, cries, and people gathering around her. What happened? She collected money for her daughter's wedding too, $3,000, and it was lost. And tomorrow is a wedding, and what she should do? And she's crying, and people, especially at that time, were very poor. How much they can give you $1, they can give you $2. They cannot collect $3,000. It's a lot of money. Rav Zusha heard it, and he's to himself, why did I hear it? I have to do something about this. So he comes to her and tells her, oh, I heard that you lost the money, so how much you had there, and where exactly you lost it, and who gave you, and what. He started getting from her all kind of details, and she tells him. And so he asked her, and what type of bills you had? And she tells him, I had 50s, I had 100s, I have 20s, I had 10s. She gives him exactly the amount of bills that she had, and how her purse looked like, and what. He told her, I think I found it. I have to go back to my motel to see if exactly the right amount of bills, whatever you said, and everything, and then I'll come back to you. He goes to his motel. He takes the money that he got from the rabbi. He goes to a money changer, okay? He changes all his bills to the amount of exactly the thing that this lady asked him, told him, and he goes and to bring it to that lady. Great mitzvah. Mitzvah. He didn't really have to. It's for his own daughter. So he gives it back to the woman. The woman starts counting. Instead of $3,000, there was only $2,800. $200 missing. And she starts screaming, liar, thief, robber, why did you steal my money? And he looks to her and he says, what do you mean? This, I have to get some, it's my share. I went, I found, it's my share. I took $200 for myself, what's the big deal? She's like, what? I need every penny of this, you cannot. And she starts crying over there, and people starts to get her up, and people starts to get frustrated. How come? You have to make a mitzvah of Hashavat Avedah. How come you keep something to yourself? You have to give the whole amount. You cannot keep it to yourself. And they get upset, and they get together around him, and they want to threaten him already. So then he saw Rabbi Zusha that he doesn't have a choice. He takes out this $200 and gives it to the lady. People look at him like, how shame, how dare you, look at him in a very disgusted looks, and so he left. He left. The rabbi over there heard about this thing, and he's like, this is the student of Rabzusha? I'm wondering how, I'm sorry, this is the student of the Maggid Mezrich. He comes once to the Maggid Mezrich, well, what kind of students here? What kind of behavior? They steal money, they're not honest and this. He said, what are you talking about? I gave him myself the $3,000. It's his money. He probably made himself this huge chesed. I don't know exactly what happened there, but cannot be. Rabzusha is a very special man, a very quality person. And some time later, he goes back to sit and to learn by the rabbi. And the rabbi is asking him, giving a message. What happened over there? You gave the money that I gave, this I know. Why all this humiliation in the end? Why you have to go through this? Why did you act this way? He told him, I'll tell you the truth. When I changed all this money, and I'm about to give this woman this money, so the evil inclination, my Yetzer comes to me and he tells me, Rabzusha, such a tzaddik, such a righteous man, a complete, really full, perfect mitzvah. It's beautiful. And I started to feel too proud about myself, too good. So, and I didn't want to lose this mitzvah, to feel proud about myself, to feel too good about myself. And so I did this. I took the money and I was humiliated and this and that. But at least he says, the evil inclination left me alone and I was saved from you. This is Rabzusha. These are special people that did this mitzvah fully 100%. I want to ask you a question. Agmara in Masechet Baba Metzia says that in the time of the Holy Temple, if somebody have lost something, there was a special podium in the temple where they would go and announce, make this declaration, whoever lost this and this can find it here and there, for the first whole year, the first 3 regalim, 3 holidays, Pesach, Shavuot, Sukkot, when people gather there from all around Israel, okay, and the high holidays, Rosh Hashanah, they would announce this thing for the first whole year until somebody comes and says that it says, Ach mishecharab bet hamikdash, once the holy temple was destroyed, it says, Sheibane b'mera b'yameinu, let's hope that it will be built fast in our days, and this is how it says in the original script, in the Shas, Sheibane b'mera b'yameinu. They would announce it after the destruction of the temple. They would announce it in shuls and places where people gather, and until so that people know that something was lost. There's so many places in the Shas that have this sentence, Mishecharav bet hamikdash, once the holy temple was destroyed, but never had this addition, Shibane b'mera b'yameinu. Let's pray that it will build right, fast away nowadays. How come only in Mitzvah Shabbat Aveda it says Shibane b'mera b'yameinu? So it's a question that one of the rabbi asks. It says in Gemara Masechet Makot, Amar Rav, I'm afraid of this pasuk that says, Va'avadetem b'goyim, you're going to be lost between among the nations. Va'achla atchem eretz oivechem, the land of your enemies is going to swallow you up, is going to eat you up. So Rav Papa is telling him, when we are lost, Jews are lost among the Gentiles, among all the other nations, it's not when somebody loses something. Let's say I lost a bag of nuts. This bag of nuts cannot claim itself, cannot scream and say, hey, somebody lost me. If I lose my watch, if I lose my pen, if I lose my... they cannot... But Israel, when they are lost, it's among the nations, it says, it's like a sheep that's lost. What happens when a sheep is lost? So it starts baying, and the owner hears that one of the sheep is lost, and the sheep doesn't know how to come back to him. He starts playing his flute, and this is how this sheep finds his way back to the owner. okay, to the shepherd. It says about the Jewish nation, Ta'iti kese oved, Omer David HaMelech in Kuf Beteilim. Ta'iti, I'm wandering like a lost sheep. And this resembles Am Yisrael. Am Yisrael is lost like a wander sheep. But this loss can claim itself. Why? Because we're looking for Hashem. And we making our noise, bah, and Hashem is trying to look for us also. So it says a sheep out of all the other animals, because Jewish nation, they represent a sheep. It says Sep Zura Bagoim. The Jewish people are scattered around the nations like a sheep, and this symbols the Am Yisrael, that Hashem is going to look for us. So it says, "Mishecharav bet hamikdash yibaneh b'mehera b'yameinu." The mitzvah of Hashavat Aveda awakens in heaven and in everywhere the rebuilding of the Holy Temple. And so the rabbis, they established that people are going to declare for lost items in the shuls, because this awakens the mercy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I want to explain you something. I read today something so nice, something that I didn't even understand. I'm learning Torah, and I didn't understand this mitzvah. Right after this mitzvah, there's another mitzvah, and then there's a mitzvah that's called shiur haken. What is mitzvah of shiur haken? For us, this mitzvah is a little bit, doesn't make sense. If you're going to see a nest, okay, and a bird sits on the nest, and there's chicks or eggs, you're supposed to let go, chase away, send away the mother, the bird, and take the birds, take the nestlings, the eggs, whatever. And in Masechet Brachot it says, "Ha'omer al kan tzipor yagiu rachamecha mashtikin oto." If somebody says that the mitzvah of shiur haken is for teaching us what is the mercy, we don't understand exactly what is this mitzvah. מכיוון the laws of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not because to teach us mercy or to teach us this. The laws of HaKadosh Baruch Hu are decrees, are chok. Chok means mitzvot that we don't understand. What is the reason that Hashem gives us? And it's very famous. We know that the mitzvah of honoring parents, which is a very, very hard mitzvah, and the mitzvah of shiur haken, which is a very, very easy mitzvah, the reward for them, in a way, is the same. V'alachta yamim, you're going to have long life. And we don't understand why. Nothing to compare honoring parents and taking care of them while if they're sick, if they're healthy, if they're rich, if they're poor, if they're sick, living in your house, if they're not living in your house, if how can you compare these two mitzvot together? And so, but it's so nice to understand in the Kabbalah, what does it mean, this mitzvah? In the Zohar to Sefer Ruth, it says that whenever somebody chases away, it says about the dove, chases away the dove and takes the eggs, the dove starts to cry so much, it suffers so much, and in a way wants to kill itself even, because why do they take my babies, my eggs away from me? And at that moment, the midah of rachamim, the quality of mercy in heaven awakens, and it's so interesting. The Jewish nation, Knesset Israel, is like they had a holy temple. They had a place where Hashem dwelled His presence among us. What happened? The Gentiles came and they chased away the dove, okay, and took the eggs to himself. Meaning, the Goyim came, destroyed the temple, okay, and now we, the eggs, we don't have our father Hashem, our mother, like our mother sits on the nest, and Hashem is crying that he lost his kids, that his kids are taken by the Gentiles. So when something like that happens, the quality of Rachamim of Hashem awakens, and He wants to bring the temple, to rebuild the temple again, to bring Israel back to their land, and to bring the Geulah again. This is the beauty of מצוות שלא חכה. So שלחת שלח את האם, twice we were chased away. Once in בית המקדש הראשון, the first temple. Once in the second temple, we were chased twice by the Gentiles. And it says, שלחת שלח, even if you have to do it 100 times to chase away this bird, chase away to be able to take the eggs, you have to do it even 100 times. Meaning that you have to chase away the dove as much as you can and to destroy that nest so that the mother is not going to come back. There's a lot of other reasons to it, so that she will build a new family, for continuity, for stuff like that. But here we're talking about the fact that the midah of harachamim awakens. Hashem wants to come back to us, and this is why it says v'harachtem, you're going to have long life. Why? In a way, it prolongs Hashem's anger, and it says
Hashem's mercy, I'm sorry, anger.
It prolongs Hashem's anger. What did I say? Anger. מששת ימי הבריאה. הנקראים ערך אפיים. קבלה. And so the Israel is like a wandering bird. It says, כציפור נודדת מקינה from her nest, כן איש נודד ממקומו. It says in משלי. הקדוש ברוך הוא awakens with mercy for all these that are wandering, the Jews that are working, broken-hearted, broken strength. We don't have nothing, and we're in the exile all this time, and Hashem wants to redeem us. למען ייטב לך, מעורר רחמים על המקום להיטיב לך, כי אז מתמלא השם רחם בכל העולם, ולכן שכרו. This is why the reward of a person that does it is so big. In the Torah, 3 times it says to'eh. To'eh means wonders.
Why is the reward so big? That's if you send them out.
Okay. Because of this, Hashem wants to make good to the world. Because of you, that you were able to chase away this dove, now Hashem wants to make a good, to send goodness to the world because of the Jews in a way. Once the Jews are going to